The USS Valiant's first taste of battle was a Cardassian battlecruiser near El Gatark. Joseph Sisko still calls Luna the Moon, and the Jem'Hadar ship's primary support braces are made of vivarium, so, you know. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello, hello.
My name is Ryan T. Husk. Today we're doing a review of Deep Space Nine, Season 6, Episode 22, Valiant, written by Ronald D. Moore, directed by Michael Vehar. The date was May 8th, 1998. Where were you? We are joined by Malissa Longo. It's a Nog episode, everybody.
Hi.
Even better than that,
Yay.
It is a Jake and Nog episode, you guys. We've done it.
Yeah, we were due for a Jake and Nog episode, and I think this was a really good one.
Oh yes. So we're going to talk all about it. Malissa Longo has her Walking Art Made by Melissa.com shirt on. It's a Captain Picard shirt that says "Make it so." And you can get yours at walkingartmadeby.melissa.com. In the description box below, there is the link. Cirroc has his Abyssinian kiosk mug that I spied a second ago.
Oh yeah, I have my mug. I have my Star Trek shirt on.
Very nice.
And, yeah, we're in the game.
So get that mug at abyssiniankiosk.com. That's Cirroc's sister's website. Also, we want to give at the top a very special thanks to Thomas Webster. Thank you, Thomas. Let's talk about Valiant. You just muted yourself. Sorry, Cirroc.
Oh, you're still on mute.
you're muted. Yeah, you're muted.
Yeah,
that's too bad
sorry
because
about
you look
that.
like you were saying something really interesting, and we're like, I want to hear it.
No, I got in a little discussion there. Sorry about that, but no, we were talking about Valiant. I mean, this is an episode that I remember because it's towards the later end of when we were filming. So, right, this is Season 6, Episode 22, and at this point, you know, I'm kind of gotten to my full growth. I've kind of gone through my growth spurt, and I've settled into this frame. And so that's one of the good things about watching this episode, because I remember it quite vividly, and the co-stars and everybody that they brought in for this episode. Really? Yeah.
So, do you remember Courtney Peldon? She played the commander. I forgot the commander's name. Karen something. Commander Karen. But she ended up later on being a talent agent, right? For Aqua Talent, if you've ever heard of Aqua Talent.
No, I had no idea about that.
Represents a lot of people.
She's the one that is alive at the end that escapes in the shuttle pod. Is that the one you're talking about?
No, the commander, the second in charge, the blonde lady.
Okay.
Number one.
Oh, the number one on the show. Yeah, she was very nice. Actually, I was really impressed with all of them. They were all brought in as guest stars. They all kind of, this was their first kind of go around with this whole Star Trek language, being a part of Starfleet. Obviously, they're young, so they had no kind of military or any kind of experience in that realm. So they were really going off of whatever knowledge that they had, whatever research that they put into these characters, and whatever direction they were given by directors or producers. So what they ended up doing, I thought, was really good. I liked the energy that they brought. I thought that they had the whole Starfleet kind of dialogue kind of down packed.
Yeah.
They really were smooth with that. What did you guys think?
Melissa?
Melissa
didn't watch the episode. You can say it. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
She watched it. She watched it.
I remember when I first watched this years ago being so annoyed by this episode.
Really?
I
Okay,
was
this I want to
so
hear.
angry. Oh, you're on mute. Oh, okay. And I was I kind of had the same feelings this go around too, as far as my feelings towards my annoyance towards the crew, the cadets of the Valiant, because that's really what they were, cadets.
Yeah.
You know, arrogant cadets who thought they knew everything and had all the answers when they didn't have they had neither the experience or the wisdom to take on the actions that they put upon themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess we're just going to get right into it. Melissa's like, I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm going to dive right in. So I'm going to say something that maybe seems a little weird, but I thought this was a great episode. I remember liking it very much when I first saw it way back in the day, and then watching it again, I liked it very much. And the reason I liked it very much was because of how realistic it felt. What it is the fearlessness and impetuousness of youth. You know, we've all been that teenager or that 20-year-old that's really feeling himself or feeling herself, that just thinks, hey, I'm the greatest. Nothing's going to happen to me. You know, we all think my body's going to be perfect forever when we're 20 years old. You know, everybody thinks my body's going to be perfect forever. And we're fearless. And I think this episode demonstrates something that I'm always kind of looking at, which is the difference between bravery and fearlessness. I believe that these cadets were fearless, not necessarily brave, because they did not really know fear. And a lot of times we don't actually truly know fear until we're much older in life, because we have less to lose. You know, as a child, when you're skateboarding at 7 on a half pipe, you're not worried about getting hurt because it just doesn't enter your brain. You know, when you're playing football, when you're diving for things, you're doing all kinds of stupid stuff. When you get older, you're a lot more fearful because you know all the stuff that can happen and you have so much more to lose. I might miss work. I got to support my kids. There's all these other things that enter in. And I just love the way this demonstrates the fearlessness of that age.
Well, and I hope you don't misunderstand my annoyance with thinking it's a bad episode. It did what it was supposed to do. They were supposed to annoy me, you know, because they, you know, instead of Captain Waters, acting Captain Waters, contacting Starfleet Command like he should have done, letting the Starfleet know that his captain had died. He hadn't let anybody know that his captain was dead.
Right.
Did this guy have a family that may have needed to know that you know, all the commanding officers were dead? You know, Ramirez probably put Waters as acting captain so in the hopes that he would do the right thing and take the ship back to Starfleet and receive his actual orders.
Right. And that was a point I wanted to bring up just real quick, was towards the end, it did bring up that question for me personally. It sounds like for you as well. I was wondering, did that captain who walked them through repairs for 24 hours, who had his wits about him and said, do this while he had all this internal bleeding. But then when he turns over control of the ship to this cadet, did he forget or neglect to give him what his orders were? Did he say, you're captain now? Or did he say, you're captain now, I need you to lead them back to blah, 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 or carry out the mission? I feel like a captain that had the 24 hours and the wherewithal to oversee a ship being repaired would have also not neglected to give the cadet his orders once he's handing over control of the ship.
Well, yeah, and knowing that these are cadets on a navigational assignment, that's the way it started. Is they just happened to be in Dominion space when the war broke out. I feel like Waters probably fudged some of the details that he was telling Nog, making himself feel more important than he really was.
Yeah. I kind of agree with the idea that you said you were upset about it and that they accomplished the goal of making you upset, because I do think that was part of the goal. Captain Waters was like overconfident and a little arrogant, and too much so, and even kind of a self-prescribed authority to some degree or another, right? Because
that wasn't the only thing he self-prescribed, apparently. He was
Right.
pill popping too.
Yeah.
Right. And so those were the big issues in the story that I think Nog brought up a line in the episode where he's like, the Starfleet knows about this, right? And he's like, no, they don't know about that. We're, and it's like, well, why wouldn't Starfleet should have been notified that Captain Ramirez is dead and that this and all this stuff transpired, and that they're continuing the mission and they're going forward with whatever their objectives are. So once I heard that, I was like, okay, you guys are not Section 31, so you don't get to operate with that kind of impunity. You are cadets.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So,
get your ass home. Get home. I feel like somebody needs to give him a spanking. Like, get your ass home. The lights just came on outside. The street lights are on. Get your ass home.
That's basically what I felt. And also, to my understanding, and maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that if you are an ensign on this Defiant / DS9, you are essentially outranking a cadet. I don't care if he's a captain cadet.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
You've graduated already. You've already been enlisted. You're no longer in the ROTC program. You're in the military now. So,
but I don't think Nog is. I believe he's an acting ensign still.
No,
at this point.
No, he's been commissioned already.
Yeah,
that's why he's got the regular uniform on.
Yeah, but I think it's a field commission because he didn't go through 4 years. To my knowledge, I could be wrong.
My understanding is that he got promoted. According to Chief O'Brien, everyone who on Deep Space Nine thought he had earned the right to be promoted to ensign.
Mm-hmm. And so if he is fully an ensign and not just an acting ensign or a field commission of ensign, then he would, outrank every single one of those people on the ship.
Right, which was my problem with the idea that he would be enticed by getting this quote unquote title of chief engineer, which is not really weighted heavier than the title he already has on DS9. So that to me is where I have a problem with the story. It's not enough of an incentive for me to see Nog losing his perspective and his thought, his rational thinking, and being caught up in this whirlwind of, I've been promoted. It's like I don't see that being the motivation necessarily behind what Nog would be trying to accomplish. I think maybe more so that he has this specific set of knowledge that he's able to offer them, that he is the go-to guy that everybody has to look up to. I think that would be more of an entice for him, something more, incentivize him to kind of participate because he has all the answers and everybody's looking to him because he has more experience and knowledge. That to me is the thing that would get him on the hook more so than, hey, look, I'm chief engineer. Look at
it's the cool kids.
Yeah,
it's the cool kids. That's
he
the whole
had
syndrome
been
there.
dreaming about being a part of Red Squad since
And he mentioned being bullied. He mentioned also being bullied in Starfleet to some degree when he got there. So this was, like you say, Ryan, like an acceptance, like the cool kids, kind of being in that crowd. And maybe that, again, I think they could have even played on that a little bit more. Maybe Jake and Nog have a conversation like, when I was at the academy, this same group, they told me, I wasn't good enough, and now they need me. Now they need me, and
now they think I'm the best, and I proved myself to them. This is my moment. Yeah,
that would have been a great line to insert in this, a conversation between Jake and Nog. So at least Jake understands. Okay, I get what's going on. This is his cool time moment. This is his step up to the plate moment. As opposed to like, look, I'm in charge. I'm so special. I think it would have been more about those kind of underlying things. One, I know more than you guys. I'm clearly smarter than you. I studied better. And even though I wasn't accepted into this elite group, I have that level or more of knowledge because I obviously, you guys don't know the answers. Mm-hmm. So playing on that a little bit more would have been good for me, but I understand where they were trying to go with it though, as well. Mm-hmm. There was a lot to cram in.
And I did like seeing Nog struggle between knowing that what Captain Waters is telling him isn't right. What he's doing isn't right. And then wanting to, prove that he's just as good as Red Squad, but I also think it was a lack of confidence on Nog's part, knowing and not realizing that he had the talent, he has the experience, he has more wisdom than because of the people that he has learned from and worked under while on Deep Space Nine. And I think that learning to trust his instincts in this episode was a big lesson for him.
Yeah. I'd like to, something just kind of hit me, and it's about Jake. Jake is definitely like the conscience of this episode, right? Mm-hmm. He's not caught up in the whole, situation with Federation and Red Squad and the Dominion and all that kind of stuff. He's like the yin to Nog's yang. He's the conscience of the episode, where he knows, hey, this is wrong, or he's got the correct perspective because he's not caught up in all of this, right? So what I found what was interesting was Jake being kind of the conscience of the episode, and especially to Nog, because he's the outsider, right? He's not caught up in honor and duty and Red Squad and missions and all that. He's just a regular dude that's like, I don't know about all this shit, but we should go home. And my dad's pretty good, and he would probably go home right now. But what I realized was his role in this episode was very much, to me, like the character Lily on Star Trek First Contact, the movie First Contact. And just in a nutshell, we've got Captain Picard, who is trying to save the ship, and he's trying to battle the Borg, and he's got this civilian, Lily. And she's like, hey, man, what are you going to do now? And he's like, well, we're going to keep fighting the Borg. And she's like, all your officers think it's better for you to evacuate. So why don't you do that? And he's like, oh, you wouldn't understand. And she's basically like, I understand that if you have a chance to get out of here, you should get the out of here. Mm-hmm. And then and then they have like this argument where she's like, Jean-Luc, blow up the damn ship, and she's like yelling at him. He's like, no, and he destroys her. But she's got that perspective of like, I don't know about all this Starfleet stuff, but this is obviously the right answer. I'm not beholden to all these other rules. I'm just looking at it from a regular human, and this is what you should do. And of course, she ended up being right, as Jake was, as we all were when we were watching it. I know we were all thinking like, when you're watching it and they say, we did this and we did that, the captain's dead and we took over. I know we're all thinking, hey, if you go and make it home right now, flying through Dominion space and all this kind of stuff, you will be celebrated very highly. You don't need to do all this extra stuff. You've already proven your worth, like, relax.
Yeah, when they said they have to get 300 yards close to this huge ship that was like 100 times their size, it did sound like a suicide mission. And I think, that was another thing that I had slight problems with was I didn't really necessarily like Jake saying, hey, if my dad can't do it, then it can't be done. I think that's not the best way to convince somebody if you are trying to argue a case.
Right. That's almost a dare. That's all.
Well, especially with somebody as big of an ego as Waters has.
Right.
Who I thought was cast beautifully. That guy was a perfect, you could just see he's the perfect blend of, he thinks he's saving the world. He thinks he's got, but from the outside point of view, we're just like, dude, snap out of it. You're just a 23-year-old guy that's in over his head, but doesn't realize it yet.
Or doesn't want to admit it to himself because, he's Red Squad and he could do anything, It was like a cult.
It was like a cult. It was,
and
like
they all drank the Kool-Aid,
And once again, I think if Jake's going to make a convincing, compelling argument in that moment to the kind of character that he knows he's dealing with in this moment, you're dealing with a kind of an egomaniacal person who's very self-centered. You have to cleverly play with the language of it so that it doesn't appear like a challenge. Like, I dare you to do it almost.
It's a great
point. It has to appeal to his own arrogance. So you have to put it in a phrase it in a way that he is actually doing the smart and right and valiant thing by choosing this option. And so that he will be uplifted even more. You placate towards his ego in that moment and not try to trump his ego and challenge it with saying, hey, if my dad can't do it, it can't be done. That may be true, but it's not a convincing argument in that moment, I think.
Yeah, and maybe that is to highlight Jake's own youth as well, and Jake's lack of wisdom and experience with talking people down as well. So Jake was right in what he was saying. He just didn't have the words or the vocabulary or the knowledge of knowing how to convince somebody like Waters to change his mind.
Captain Sisko would have, though, because he would have just said, I don't care, Ensign. Go to the brig. And Jake's like, hey, man, you guys, let's talk about this.
Well,
I told you.
Yeah. Oh,
and
hang on. Sorry, Melissa. Let's jump to the I almost said the bridge, but let's jump to the break, and then we'll get right back to what it was that you were saying on the other side. Stick around. We'll be right back on the 7th rule.